late 1940s, a group of Russian researchers discovered an experimental gas-based stimulant which could eradicate the need for sleep in humans. 5 test subjects were chosen to test the gas, all deemed enemies of the state. They were kept in a sealed environment to carefully monitor their oxygen intake, as the gas was toxic in high concentrations. This was before closed-circuit cameras, so their only means of monitoring the subjects were microphones and a few thick glass portholes into the chamber. The chamber was stocked with books, cots to sleep on, running water, a toilet, and enough dried food to last all 5 for over a month. Everything was 5 for the first 5 days. The subjects hardly complained, having been promised, falsely, that they would be freed if they did not sleep for 30 days. Their conversations and activities were monitored closely, and it was noted that they continued to talk about increasingly traumatic incidents in their past life, and the general tone of their conversations took on a darker aspect after the 4-day mark. After 5 days, they started to complain about the circumstances and events that led them to where they were, and started to demonstrate signs of paranoia. They stopped talking to one another, and began alternately whispering to the microphones and portholes. Oddly, they seemed to think they could win the trust of their researchers by turning over their fellow comrades. At first, the researchers suspected that this was an effect of the gas itself. After 9 days, the first of them started screaming. He ran the length of the chamber, repeatedly yelling at the top of his lungs for 3 hours straight. After he tore his vocal cords, he still continued attempting to scream, but was only able to produce occasional squeaks. The most surprising thing about this behavior is how the other captives reacted to it, or didn't react to it. They continued whispering into the microphones until the second of the captives started to scream. The 3 non-screaming captives took books apart, smearing page after page with their own feces and pasted them over the glass portholes. The screaming promptly stopped, and so did the whispering in the microphones. After 3 more days passed, the researchers checked the microphones hourly to make sure they weren't working, as they thought it impossible that no sound could be coming from the chamber. The oxygen consumption in the chamber indicated that all 5 must still be alive. In fact, it was the amount of oxygen 5 people would consume at a very heavy level of strenuous exercise. On the morning of the 14th day, the researchers did something they said they would not do. They used the intercom inside the chamber, hoping to provoke a response from the captives. They announced, "We are opening the chamber to test the microphones. Step away from the door and lie flat on the floor, or you will be shot. Compliance will earn one of you your immediate freedom." To their surprise, they heard one single phrase in a calm voice respond, "We no longer wish to be freed." Debate broke out among the researchers and the government officials funding the experiment. Unable to provoke any other response using the intercom, it was finally decided to open the chamber at midnight on the 15th day. That night, the chamber was flushed of the gas and filled with fresh air. Immediately, voices from the microphones began to object. 3 different subjects began begging, as if pleading for the life of loved ones, to turn the gas back on. The chamber was opened and soldiers sent in to retrieve the test subjects. They began to scream louder than ever, and so did the soldiers when they saw what was inside the chamber. 4 of the 5 subjects were still alive, although no one can rightly call the state that any of them were in living. The food rations for the past 5 days had not been so much as touched. There were chunks of rotting flesh from the dead subject's thighs and chest stuffed into the drain in the center of the chamber, which allowed 4 inches of red liquid to accumulate on the floor. Precisely how much of the liquid that was actually blood was never determined. All 4 surviving test subjects also had large portions of muscle and skin torn away from their bodies. The exposed bone on their fingertips indicated that the wounds were inflicted by hand, not with teeth as the researchers initially thought. Closer examination of the position and angles of the wounds indicated that all of them were self-inflicted. The organs below the rib cages of all 4 test subjects had been removed. While the heart, lungs, and diaphragm remained in place, the skin and muscles attached to the ribs had been ripped off, exposing the lungs through the ribcage. All the removed blood vessels and organs remained intact. They had just been taken out and laid on the floor, fanning out around the bodies of the subjects. The digestive tract of all four could be seen working, digesting what was apparently their own flesh, which they had been eating for many days. Most of the soldiers were Russian operatives, but still, many refused to return to that chamber in order to remove the test subjects. The subjects continued to scream to be left alone in the chamber and alternately begged and demanded that the gas be turned back on, lest they fall asleep. To everyone's surprise, the test subjects put up a fierce fight in the process of being removed from the chamber. One of the Russian soldiers died from having his throat ripped out. Another, gravely injured by having his testicles ripped off and an artery in his leg severed by one of the subject's teeth. 5 more soldiers lost their lives, if you count ones that committed suicide. In the struggle, one of the 4 living subjects had his spleen ruptured and was bleeding out quickly. The medical staff attempted to sedate him, but this proved impossible. He was injected with more than 10 times the normal human dose of morphine, and still fought like a cornered animal, breaking the arm of one doctor. His heart continued beating for a full 2 minutes after he ran out of blood. Even after his heart stopped, he continued to scream and flail for another 3 minutes, struggling to attack anyone in reach and just repeating the word, "More! More!" over and over, weaker and weaker, until he finally fell silent. The surviving 3 test subjects were heavily restrained and moved to the medical facility, the 2 with intact vocal cords continuously begging for the gas, demanding to be kept awake. The most injured of the 3 was taken to the only surgical operating room that the facility had. In the process of preparing the subject to have his organs placed back in his body, it was found that he was effectively immune to the sedative they had given him. He fought furiously against his restraints when the anesthetic gas was brought out to put him to sleep. He managed to tear most of the way through a 4-inch wide leather strap on his wrist. It took little more anesthetic than normal to put him under, and the instant his eyelids fluttered and closed, his heart stopped. In the autopsy of the test subject, it was found that his blood had triple the normal level of oxygen found in a human body. The muscles that were still attached to his skeleton were badly torn, and he had broken 9 bones in his struggle to not be subdued. The second survivor had been the first of the group to start screaming. His vocal cords destroyed, he was unable to beg or object to surgery, and he only reacted by shaking his head very violently in disapproval when the anesthetic gas was brought out. He shook his head yes when a nurse suggested that they try the surgery without anesthetic. He did not react for the entire 6-hour procedure of replacing his abdominal organs and attempting to cover them with what little remained of his skin. The surgeon stated repeatedly that it should be medically impossible for the subject to still be alive. One terrified nurse stated that she had seen the patient's mouth curl into a smile several times whenever his eyes met hers. When the surgery ended, the subject looked at the surgeon and began to wheeze loudly, attempting to talk. Assuming this must be something of importance, the surgeon had a pen and pad fetched so he could write out his message. It was simple. Keep cutting. The other 2 test subjects were given the same surgery, both without anesthetic. The surgeon found it almost impossible to perform the operation while the patients laughed continuously. Once paralyzed, the subjects could only follow the attending researchers with their eyes. The paralytic cleared their system in an abnormally short period of time, and they were soon trying to escape their bonds. The moment they could speak, they were asking for the gas. The researchers tried asking why. Why had they injured themselves? Why had they ripped out their own organs? Why did they want the gas? Only one response was given. I must remain awake. All 3 subjects' restraints were reinforced, and they were placed back into the chamber awaiting determination as to what should be done with them. The researchers, facing the wrath of their military benefactors for having failed the stated goals of their project, considered euthanizing the surviving subjects. The commanding officer, an ex-KGB, instead saw potential and wanted to see what would happen if they were put back on the gas. The researchers strongly objected, but were overruled. In preparation for being sealed in the chamber again, the subjects were connected to an EEG monitor and had their restraints padded for a long-term confinement. To everyone's surprise, all three stopped struggling the moment they were back on the gas. It was obvious that, at this point, all three were putting up a great struggle to stay awake. One of the subjects that could speak was humming loudly and continuously. The mute was straining his legs against the leather bonds with all his might, first left, then right, then left again, just to have something to focus on. The remaining subject was holding his head off his pillow and blinking rapidly. Having been the first to be wired for EEG, most of the researchers were monitoring his brainwaves in surprise. They were normal, but most of the time, he just flatlined. It looked as if he was repeatedly suffering brain death before returning to normal again. As they focused on the paper scrolling out of the brainwave monitor, only one nurse saw his eyes slip shut at the same moment his head hit the pillow. His brainwaves immediately changed to that of deep sleep, then flatlined for the last time as his heart simultaneously stopped. The only remaining subject that could speak started screaming to be sealed in now. His brainwaves showed the same flatlines as the other one who had just died. The commander gave the order to seal the chamber with both subjects inside as well as 3 other researchers. One of the 3 immediately drew his gun and shot the commander point blank right between the eyes, then turned the gun to the mute subject and blew his brains out. He pointed the gun at the remaining subject, still restrained to a bed, as the members of the medical and research team fled the room. "I won't be locked in here with these things. Not with you," he screamed, at what could no longer be called a man strapped to the table. "What are you?" he demanded. I must know. What are you?" The subject smiled.
"Have you forgotten so easily?"
The subject asked.
"We are you. We are the madness that lurks within you all, begging to be freed at every moment in your deepest animal mind. We are what you hide from in your beds every night. We are what you sedate into silence when you go to the nocturnal heaven where we cannot tread."
The researcher paused, then aimed at the subject's exposed heart and fired. The EEG flatlined as the subject weakly choked out.
"So nearly free."
Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. What I'm going to talk about is cults, MK Ultra, mind control, and Charles Manson, and the justice system, and just the whole establishment of the justice system. So, first I want to talk about Charles Manson. As a child, he was born illegitimate, and his mother was a prostitute, and at a young age he was put in a mental institution and juvenile hall, and when they let him out when he was 21, he, from my research, he didn't want to go, and there's a couple different conflicting stories on that, but anyway, I really don't know, but that's the story. When he was around 34, he had already spent 17 years of his life institutionalized, and when he wasn't institutionalized, it was because he ran away or escaped a couple times, or he was just released. So, and he was jailed in like 5 different states throughout his life. before he ended up in the LA area in California. So, so by the time he's 21, okay, and I'm gonna have to do some more research, but um, he had been institutionalized quite a bit of his life, and he was, and I do believe, and I'm gonna check what I'm saying to you, and I'm gonna do a follow up video on these subjects to kind of just fill in any blanks I feel like I left, or answer any questions and reply to any comments that you leave on this, because I think this is really interesting. So anyway, the CIA was running a mind control project. It was top secret, and there's a lot of information about that on the internet. And the same years kind of correlate as to when Charles Manson was in these institutions. The CIA refers to the children that they had to conduct these experiments of mind control on were called throwaway kids. These kids were not missed. And Charles Manson often in interviews would refer to himself as a throwaway kid. And he also referred to what we call his followers as throwaway kids. So that kind of jolted me a little bit. And so he also has been quoted as saying that everything he ever learned, he learned in prison. And so really the only thing he knew was how to survive, how to project and mirror emotions or other people's actions. So he was always in an authoritarian kind of situation. So he learned a lot from that. And he got a lot of followers, and they were doing a lot of hallucinogenic drugs like LSD, and he was having his followers actually mirror him. Like, they'd put his palms up to his palms and he would move them around, and then he would make faces at them, and they would have to make the same face back to him at the same time. And he was very much in control, and he had done this by mirroring what other people's thoughts and needs were. And he was very good at this. And if you like watch or read about the three main girls that followed him, Leslie and Susan and Squeaky, they tell you a little more about his tactics and how he did control them, and how he did not commit any of the murders. And they admit that they committed the murders and give the details. And so Charlie never actually committed a murder physically. So he had a lot of practice in getting followers. He and I believe he learned this in the institution. I believe he learned a lot of these defense mechanisms of the mind in the institution, and how to relate to these other throwaway kids that he drew to them. He knew what they needed. And with a lot of charm and him playing music, he was a hit with the girls, um, and men also were followers. But I question this. He was committed to a life sentence, and he did not actually murder anybody. Actually, he was sentenced to death, and they did away with the death penalty, so it turned into a life sentence. But he did not actually murder anybody. The president, Nixon, at the time, went on television before the trial, and I can't say word for word what he said, but basically that the man's guilty, put him away. The media had already just sensationalized everything. I mean, it was very, very dramatic anyway, but the media just ran with it. So a lot of these so this case was basically decided before it even went to trial, and they did not really get a fair trial because of the media. And we had a lot to learn from this trial and from these girls that committed these murders, and Tex Watson also. But the girls, I know, have been real open with their stories and talk about the mind control and about their time before they met Charlie. They were throwaway kids, and we should have been questioning this much more, and we should be questioning why they made sure that Charlie was put away. And I believe they know that he had been MK Ultra'd, and they knew he was a danger to society. So just knowing that, they finally got him in for good and got him out of society for good. But I do believe that they knew that they created evil. They knew they had to get him off the streets, and that's why there was not a fair trial for Charlie. And I want to just read a few of his quotes that I found interesting. And I watched Tom Snyder's video or interview, and I will try to put that in this corner or this corner. There'll be a little white symbol up there, and click on it, and it'll be Tom Snyder's interview with him. But I did get these quotes from here, and I'll try to link up some other interviews with the three girls also. And if they're not on the tag or the card on my video, check the description box. I'll get them up there. I'm not real computer savvy, but I'll get it. I'll do it. Okay, so quotes from Charles Manson. You're all going to get the reflection in the mirror of what you put in this child here. Another quote from Charlie. I live by the code of the outlaw. I'll give you everything I got and take whatever I need. I knew I wasn't going to the gas chamber because I didn't do anything wrong. I was born illegitimately on the wrong side of the law. I have been an outlaw ever since. I learned everything I know in prison. I'm not violent. My whole life is on record. There is no violence. We didn't get a trial. We were tried by the media, and the media was selling it. With okay, yeah, the media was selling it, and which brings me to another subject. Might as well talk about, make a little bit longer video than usual. Is the Dallas shootings, and they put up a face of an innocent man on the news and said that he was the most wanted man in America for the shooting of these police officers. And in fact, he did not, and his brother saw the news or was notified about it, something like that, and got a hold of his brother and said, you know, they think you're the one that did the shooting, and we got to go take you to the police station and clear your name before they come and find you and just shoot you before they even, you know, try to arrest you. So so they did, and the guy went to the cops, and he gave him his gun. He said, you know, you had my picture on the news. I didn't do it, so I'm here just to, you know, give you my alibi, whatever, you know, something to that effect. And that they treated him badly. He was held for a while. I can't remember how long. They refused to clear his name on the news. The police officers did, when they gave a statement after they found out the man was innocent. And the man had gotten, his brother actually had already started receiving death threats on social media. So I just kind of want to stress the point about the media, and you know, to not take things at face value. And then back to the Charlie's trials, I just think they decided before the trial that the man was going to be behind bars the rest of his life, and he did get the death sentence. And then they took the death sentence away from the whole state, and I find that all fishy. And tell me what you think. Do you think there's a conspiracy there? Do you think I'm way off? Do you think that he could have been MK Ultra'd? And I'm interested in your feedback. And thanks for stopping by. Peace.
Under the leadership of Dr. Strughold, 34 scientists accepted contracts from Project Paperclip and were moved to Randolph Air Force Base in San Antonio, Texas. These personalities began to work on human radiation studies, aviation medicine, microwave technology, and MKUltra mind control experiments. The authorization to hire these Nazi scientists came directly from the Joint Chiefs of Staff. The top military brass stated that they wished to exploit these rare minds. Operation Paperclip eventually recruited 9,000 Nazi scientists and technicians to help the U.S. destroy the USSR. Some of these scientists were known as programmers, people skilled in the art of breaking down and controlling the human mind. Dr. Joseph Mengele and others experimented extensively with children and adults using mescaline, electroshock therapy, hypnosis, sensory deprivation, torture, rape, starvation, and trauma bonding in an effort to control the human mind. Dr. Mengele was so successful using the technique of trauma bonding that survivors today still exhibit a profound affection for their torturer, referring to Mengele as Beautiful Joseph. Dr. L. Wilson Green was a Jewish doctor who the Nazis coerced to participate in their experiments at Auschwitz. This individual, whose code name was Dr. Green, came to the U.S. after World War II and began to experiment on adults and children for the military and CIA. The military and CIA copied the Nazi methodology and began numerous programs of their own. The first CIA program was known as MK-Ultra. The MK is an abbreviation for the German words for mind control. By 1953, the CIA, U.S. Navy, and U.S. Army Chemical Corps were conducting their own narco-hypnosis programs on prisoners, mental patients, foreigners, ethnic minorities, and those classified as sexual deviants. To avoid confusion, the dozens of mind control operations will be referred to generically as MK-Ultra. The subject can be hypnotized and used for operations, but would only be consciously aware of the sense of lost time. Dr. Sidney Gottlieb employed these early programmers and concentrated on the use of LSD for mind control and exotic poisons and drugs for political assassinations. He personally gave LSD to an unknowing fellow scientist, Dr. Frank Olson, who worked for the Army Chemical Corps Special Operations Division at Fort Detrick. His job was developing biological weapons. Dr. Olson committed suicide by jumping through the window of a 10th-floor hotel. Dr. Gottlieb concealed his actions, and the Olson family was unaware of the cause of his suicide until 27 years later, when the facts emerged during a congressional hearing on CIA abuses. The link between Gottlieb and Olson illustrates how the different elements of biological and chemical weapons, radiation testing, and MK-Ultra were all intertwined.
The United States is owned by foreign corporations. Nixon opened it up for foreign trade. And when Nixon opened up for foreign trade, the people of Europe and the common market in Spain and different places, they don't care about the United States forest. And in short, the United States has been sold out by people who really don't care for anything but money. I've had all the money in the world 3 times. I had to give it back to keep the game going.
What game?
The game. It's a game. Money is a game. It's only real to the people who work for it. The people that don't need to work for money, it's a monopoly game. It's a game of paper. It's all on paper. I've got a production company, and I've got a recording company, and I've got a mansion in Beverly Hills, and I've got Rolls Royces and Ferraris. I've got everything money can buy, but it's all on paper. Everything's done through the companies and through the tax loopholes, and the people that live on that level, they don't care about the average honest mule that just goes back and forth to work. They don't care about the children that are in the streets that are thrown out of this upper echelon of existence. And then when all the children fall down into me, on my level, I pretty much identify with them because I was a throwaway also. So it goes to the point of, do you really care.
When you
And
said,
who does care? And if anybody cares, they're considered crazy. I've been 15 years in a nut ward for trying to stop the trees from being cut down, from trying to rearrange a lifestyle of a bunch of people who don't want to change, but they're going to change because the cold wind is blowing. The things that we do as human beings that are accepted and called right 100 years ago have changed. Years ago we could cut down trees and we could afford an exuberant lifestyle. We can't afford that no more. We're running out of atmosphere. We're running out of water. Our water's becoming so poisoned and so polluted we're not going to be able to drink it. The trees are being cut down so fast. Lumber companies are just... The United States is owned by foreign corporations.
I live on the ground. I live on the earth. I lived in Hollywood, and I had all that. The Rolls Royce and the Ferrari, and the pad in Beverly Hills. I had the surfboard and the Beach Boys and the Beasties and the Neil Diamond and the Rob Scott and the Jimmy Griffin and Elvis Presley's, Mr. Vestleys and all them guys. The Dina Martins and the Nancy Sinatras and the Kathy Saffron. Will you do it to me? I hear you do it good, honey, and all that kind of. Will you come up to my house later? So I went through all that, and I seen that was a bigger prison than the one I just got out of, and I really didn't care to go back to prison. See, prison doesn't begin and end at the gate. Prison is in your mind. It's locked in one world that's dead and dying, or it's open to a world that's free and alive. The whole life is put in your paycheck. You couldn't pay me all the money in the world to do something I don't want to do. If I'm shoveling the barn and you want me to go just get a rump farm, I say, no, I'm doing something right here. I'm helping this blind man. I feel better in doing what I want to do.
The way you go to court, they need a conviction. They need criminals, man. They need people to lock up in cages. If they didn't have people to lock up in cages, man, they wouldn't be able to sell more fear to the public. And they sell more fear to the public, and all the old women, they love to buy that fear.
But now that I have learned what I've learned, I don't think you people want to know what I know. You wouldn't like it. Why? Well, because it's not very nice.
Well, why?
Because the people that you let run your lives aren't very nice. The people that govern you, the people that tell you people what to do, they're not good people.
Shuo Matsumoto was born in 1955 to poor parents in Kyushu, southern Japan. Nobody could have predicted that he would grow up to be the leader of a religious empire that stretched beyond more than 3 continents and had at its peak 9,000 members in Japan, and as many as 40,000 worldwide. Not only was the young Shuo born into poverty, he also suffered from blindness. At birth he suffered infantile glaucoma, causing complete blindness in his left eye, and only partial sight in his right. Eventually the boy was enrolled in a government-funded school for the blind. And the young Shuo quickly found that in the land of the blind the one-eyed man is king. Using his powers of partial-sightedness, he rapidly dominated and manipulated his fellow students. He tried on multiple occasions during his school years to become student body president. It seemed, though, that his classmates feared rather than respected him. And so he was repeatedly unsuccessful. But it seemed his failures only spurred his political ambition to greater heights. He planned to one day become the Prime Minister of Japan, and that end he attempted to gain entrance into the elite Tokyo University. His plans were frustrated again when, despite many months of study, he was refused entry. He eventually married a college student called Tomoko. She was bright, intelligent, and seemed to be a balancing force in his life. They soon had 6 children together, and Tomoko convinced her family to provide money for a clinic where Shuo would practice acupuncture. Shuo sold dubious herbal remedies and yoga cures to the public for $7,000 a pop. His fraudulent miracle cures soon gained the attention of the police, who fined him $1,000, a small amount compared to the earnings of his scam. It was at that time that Shuo started to study Chinese fortune-telling and meditation. Through this he believed that he had gained supernatural powers. In 1984 he decided to start his own sect, after becoming disenchanted with the alternative groups available at that time. He called it Aum Association of Mountain Wizards. The basic tenets of Aum Shinrikyo are gathered from a range of sources, such as elements of Christianity, Buddhism, yoga, and the writings of Nostradamus. Nostradamus was a French apothecary and seer, who published collections of prophecies that have since become famous worldwide. Followers of Aum Shinrikyo believe that Asahara is Christ, Japan's only fully enlightened master, and identified with the Lamb of God. His purported mission was to take upon himself the sins or karma of the world, and he claimed he could transfer to his followers spiritual power, and ultimately take away their bad karma. Central to Aum's beliefs is a doomsday prophecy, which includes a World War III, instigated by the United States. They believe there will be a final conflict culminating in a nuclear Armageddon. Borrowing the term from the Book of Revelation 16:16, humanity will end, except for the elite few who joined Aum. Aum's mission was not only to spread the word of salvation, but also to survive these end times. Asahara predicted Armageddon would occur in 1997. He named the United States as the beast from the Book of Revelation, predicting it would eventually attack Japan. He also saw dark conspiracies everywhere, enacted by Jews, Freemasons, the Dutch, the British royal family, and rival Japanese religions. The religion's practices remain shrouded in secrecy. Initiation rituals often involved the use of hallucinogens, such as LSD. Religious practices often involved extreme ascetic practices claimed to be yoga. These included everything from being hung upside down to being given shock therapy. Aum Shinrikyo promoted a path to enlightenment with self-discipline and asceticism, yoga, a vegetarian diet, manual labor, and the renunciation of desire. Aum arranged studies in accordance with a special learning system, in which each new stage is reached only after examinations are passed successfully, as in university education. Meditation practices complement theoretical study. Using the scientists and engineers in his group, Asahara created a wired helmet that was to be placed onto the head of any new recruit as a part of their initiation. According to Aum, this would align the newcomers' brain waves to Asahara's, in order for them to gain a better understanding of his teachings and message. This procedure was labeled the Perfect Salvation Initiation. In addition to the Perfect Salvation Initiation, Asahara ordered members of his group to make masks of his face, and to go out in public wearing them to show their belief of his deity attributes. A follower of Aum Shinrikyo could attain the following stages by way of his or her religious practice: Raja Yoga, Kundalini Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Mahayana Yoga, Astra Yoga, Kausa Yoga, and the ultimate stage, the ultimate realization. For a follower to be considered an attainer, specific conditions must be met before senior Sangha members recognize them as such. For instance, the Kundalini Yoga stage in their system requires reduction in oxygen consumption, which is measured by special sensors, changes in electromagnetic brain activity and reduction of heart rhythm also measured. When the follower demonstrates such changes, it is recognized that he or she did in fact enter the Samadhi state and thus deserves the title and permission to teach others. Each stage has its own requirements. Advancements in theoretical study do not give followers the right to teach others. Other practices include the yogic application of Shaktipat, which is the direct transmission of spiritual energy, or mingling of spiritual bodies on the subtle plane, between guru and student. This is a belief of guru-based yoga systems, where the guru has divine or semi-divine status. Here we can see Asahara, and a follower, engaging in the practice of Shaktipat, on Japanese television.
これ浮いてるの浮いてるのほらねヨガのそしてまた超能力者でございます朝原翔子さんを今日お迎えしておりますのでいろんなためになるお話を伺っていきたいと思います拍手でお迎えくださいませどうぞどうもこんにちは まあ、私ね、初めて、お会いさせていただきますけども、写真よく随分お若いですね。ねえ、なんか初めてのような、初めてじゃないような、なんか、親しみのあるね、ですけど。これ本当に浮いてるんですか？
そうですね。
ああ。これ、2、3日もこうやって浮いていられるんですか？
いえ、経典にはそう書かれていますけど、そうではないですね、私の場合は。ふわっと浮いて、少しとどまって、またスッと落ちると。そうです、そういう感じですね。
はあ、なるほどね。ヨガとこの健康法というのは、かなりやっぱり関係はあるんですか？
密接な関係がありますね。まあ、2つ今日理論を紹介するつもりでいるんですけど、その中の1つが、身体には3つの管が通っているんですね。ここに書かれている通り、イダ、ピンガラ、スシムナというですね。そしてその、ピンガラ管にもし障害がありますと、
ピンガラ管、
熱の障害になるわけですね。熱の病気。
ピンガラ管、
こちらにありますね。
何でしたっけ？
あとイダー管ですね。
イダー管。
これは体を冷やす働きがありまして、まあ、その肝性の病気と、それにあと中央のスシムナー管というのがありまして、これはエネルギーのトラブルですね。無気力とか、そういう時の障害と関係があるわけです。でこの3つの管を浄化すれば健康になるよと。
そうですか。それ実際にいろいろと、ヨガの、日常我々ができる、ポーズってのいろいろ教えていただけますか？
早速、始めたいと思います。
早速じゃあストレス解消のポーズ。
そうですね。まず、右足の前に両手をつきます。
右足の前に？
両手。
右足の前に。
そして、左足を上げます。そして血液を頭に、下げたら、その後また足を戻して、そして今度はゆっくりとシャバーサナといいまして、リラックスの体に入ります。
リラックスの体？
リラックスのポーズですね。足首から右足首、左足首とゆっくりゆっくり緊張を解いていきます。で、手首、肩ですね、首と緊張を解いていきます。で、このステップができるだけでも、疲労感は抜けますね、簡単に。で、これができるようになりましたら、次は呼吸法を少し練習しまして。
呼吸法？
それで精神の集中力を一層強めるわけですね。
これ集中力ですね。
集中力を強める訓練ですね。1回の呼吸が30秒ぐらいなりましたら相当に精神集中力がついています。そうなった段階で、身体を動かしているエネルギーがありまして、そのエネルギーに集中すると。そうすると例えば、不眠症でしたら、永遠にある気に集中すれば、不眠症が治ると。非常に効果があります。
で、先生は超能力があるということなんで、だから超能力を、なんかあれですか、注入することができるんですか？
できますね。先ほど3つの管がありましたね。あれを通して、身体にエネルギーを入れるわけですけども。
そうなりますと、彼女にエネルギーを入れると、彼女はどうなるんですか？
彼女はもちろん超能力者にもなりますし、それから健康になりますね。
座って、
少し待っててください。落ち着いてますから。
そうですか。
目覚めたみたいですよ。
どんな感じですか？
すごい幸せな気持ちですごい満足感があって、で肉体とこう自分の意識とか違うところにあった感じがして、
すごいですね。これもう大変なエネルギー使いますでしょ、これは。
そうですね。一人やると右半身が冷たくなりますから。
かなりだから先生との信頼関係もないとすぐにはできないでしょうね。
そうですね。信頼関係がまず一番にエネルギーを入れてくださいという感じがないとですね。
今日の結論はどういうふうな？
超能力はあなたを変えるですね。
なるほど。超能力があなたを変えると。こういうわけでございますね。今日はどうもいろいろお話ありがとうございました。どうも。
Shoko Asahara also made other television appearances, alongside stars such as Takeshi Kitano, best known in the West for his involvement in the comedy game show Takeshi's Castle, but in Japan is a household name for being a film director, comedian, singer, actor, film editor, presenter, screenwriter, author, poet, painter, and one-time video game designer who has received critical acclaim.
私に会ってますからいいですけどね。
そうです。
で今日はですね、楽しみですね。
というたけしさんからのラブコールなんですけれども、朝原さんご自身からご覧になってこの今の宗教ブームって言いますか、新宗教ブームとも言われてますけれども、その辺はどのように感じらっしゃるわけですか？
そうですね、来るべきものが来てるんじゃないでしょうか。
来るべきもの。
つまり人間の物質的豊かさというものがピークに達して、でそこでは満足できないと人々が思い出していると。でそうなると次はどうなるかというと、内側の世界の探求に入っていくということだと思うんですね。でその時代がやっとやってきているということじゃないでしょうかね。
はい、で特にその若い人たちが朝原さんのところには随分多くていらっしゃいますよね。その若者は特にその宗教に期待するものっていうのは、
飢えた時代を経験している人たちはやはりその生きるイコール働くイコール豊かな生活というその構図が形成されると思うんですね。しかし若者たちはもう小さい時から豊かですから、でその豊かさのその裏側にある空虚さというもの、これをやはり小さい時から認識してますので、そうなると当然その物質社会以外のいやそれ以上のものをやはり求めようとすると。
僕なんかはやっぱりこう経済的にも何でもいいんですけどね、別に。だけども最近やっぱり心の問題には間違いないんですけど、心の問題で考えると心が豊かになることっていうのはそのすごい概念ですから、すごいこう精神的なすごいこうなんて言うんだろう、自分の頭との勝負みたいなところがあるんですよね、考え方が。こうじゃないだろうこうじゃないだろう。ただ経済的にダメで食えないっていうことに対して満足度って簡単なんですよ。働いてお金稼いで何か食えない。でも精神的なものになるとどういうものが価値がある考え方で価値がないのかって、それを具体的に金銭では表せないもんだし、大きさもわからないし、あらゆるもそれだと何が心の問題でどう考えることが一番幸せなのかと、そういう考え方はおかしいのかとかいろいろ考えるんですけどね。
高橋さんが常々言ってるのは、本当に幸せだって感じるためには一回自分が幸せだからすごく遠のいて離れたところに行ってみないと、不幸な思いもしないと幸せがわからない。本当に自分が強いかどうか確かめるためには一回自分がボロボロになってみないと、そこから強さっていうのが初めて生まれるっていうようなことを前に宗教を取り上げた時にも言ってましたよね、高橋さんも。
あとなんか今どうもこう幸せって幸福とか言うんだけども、僕としてはこう生きることと同じように死ぬことがいつも背中合わせにあるもんで、生きること、今の時代は生きることばっかしのこうマニュアルとかノウハウを言うんですよ。楽しく生きようとかどうのことだけど、常に死ぬことが背中合わせで 50% の確率であるもんだとしたら、逆に言えば死ぬことばっかし考えてても同じバランスでね、バランス感覚で右手を鍛えると同時に左手を鍛えるみたいに、死ぬことと生きること同じ感覚でこう分量で考えないと非常にバランスが悪いんじゃないかなってずっと思ってるんですけどね。
どうですか、その辺はオウムに期待してる若者大変多いと思いますけれど、その今を豊かに生きるっていうのと同時にもう一方にはちゃんといつかは死ぬんだっていうことを、どのぐらいのこう意識の仕方っていうか認識の仕方はとしてはあるんでしょうね。
私たちは生きてますから、生きてるということはもうすでにその死の概念を叩き込んだとしても、せいぜいがやはりビートたけしさんのおっしゃる通り 50% ぐらいしかならないと思うんですね。でそういう意味でそのオウム真理教の教えのまず大前提に来るのは死というのがきます。でこれをどうするのかという問題になってくるわけですね。で私はビートたけしさんの今までのこのマスコミにおける活躍を見ていて感じることは、大変その思索力の優れた方だなと。思索というのは、やはり絶えずものを考えていらっしゃるなというふうに思うんですね。でそのものを考えることから全てはスタート するわけなんでね、宗教もそうですけども、もちろんその前提にはどういう考え方をしなさいという基本的な教えあるんですけども、それを使いこなしていくことも考えること、それから、それを単純に考えるだけではなくて実践に結びつけて考えることだと思うわけですね。で私がびっくりしたのはビートたけしさんがいきなり死の話をお出しになったんで、やはりさすがだなということと同時に、やはり相当に深く仏教観、本当の意味での仏教観が根付いていらっしゃるんだなとちょっとびっくりしましたね、私はね。
そうじゃないとだけども変な話なんですけど、例えばこの宗教に入ると昔のスタイルですね、宗教の昔のスタイルと言いますと、不幸なことがあったり貧乏したりと、あなたはこの宗教に入ればそういうことが全部救われますと、お金が得られるようになったり出世したりなんていうパターンでのし上がってきた宗教いっぱいありますよね。それは現世利益だっていうような話で、それはもうダメだってことをみんな気が付いてるわけですから、今の時代そんなことは宗教は関係ないという、その宗教に入ったからって金が儲かる、片方にじゃ不幸が出るじゃないかってことになるわけですから、そうすると今度は心の問題なわけですね。心が豊かになろうと、僕の考えだと心が豊かになることも心の現世利益じゃないかなって感じがするんですよ。そうするとその宗教に入って心が満足するだけじゃなくて、もっと逆に苦しむとかひどい目に遭うことのでも構わないような気がするんですよね、宗教っていうのは。常に苦悩とか苦痛から自分の心が解放されるばっかしいう宗教があるけども、そうじゃなくてわりかしもっときつい目に心を合わせてしまってもいいような気がするんだけど。
それオウム真理教での修行っていうのはかなりその辺の厳しさとか生きることの苦痛っていうのを身をもって感じる何かっていうのは他と違ってあるわけですか？
それはありますね。またこれもちょっとびっくりしてることなんですけど、今ビートたけしさんのおっしゃることっていうのはこれは、北伝、つまりインドから、中国、ティベット、中国、日本を通ってきた、仏教があるわけですけど、その中の最高峰と言われているチベット仏教の中のマハームドラーという要するに最高の悟りがあるわけですけど、その最高の悟りに到達する道の真髄なんですね。つまりその人のもともと持っている内側に隠されている苦しみを引き出してあげると。これはグルが引き出すわけですけど、グルというのは要するに師匠が引き出すわけですけど、引き出してあげてそれを取り除いてあげると。それによってその人の本当の心を解放してあげるというか、そういう教えがあるわけですね。でまさに今のビートたけしさんの言ってらっしゃることはその真髄を言ってらっしゃるんだと思います。それは
でもそれをなかなか身をもって経験するっていうのは、教えを教えとして理解することはみんなできると思うんですけれど、とても実際難しいことじゃないんでしょうか？
いやこれは人間を構成しているもの、これは要するにこの肉体と感覚、それからイメージ、それから意思ですね。そしてもう一つ今まで経験してきた全てのデータ、これらを一つ一つクリアにしていくという作業を行えば、どんな人でも最高の悟りを得ることができますね。
あとすごいこれ子供の時からずっと今日はね面白いしょうがない。子供の時からずっと悩んでることってあるんですよ。なんで人というものありますね。我々人間と称するんで、他の生き物があるけど、自分が動くためとか生きるためになんか口に入れてふにして出さなきゃいけないって、この状態っていうのはどうして変わらないんだろうかっていう気がするんですけどね。それはその原子とか分子レベルになれば何も死んでないとか形は全然変わってないんだって通り過ぎるだけだとは思うんですけど、形のあるものをまた摂取しなきゃいけないとか、そういうことで成り上がってる人間というのは心をいくら鍛えてもどうするんだろうかって、その部分に対する対応の仕方っていうか。
いや
急に子供になってしまうんですけど、話が
子供というよりもですね、それもまた仏教の奥義の瞑想の一つで、この肉体を完全に不浄のものと見ると。でこの不浄のものと見て、それを単に否定するんではなくて、その肉体から離脱してもう一つの自分の本質があるわけですけど、その本質というのは先ほど言われた分子原子レベルの肉体だとお考えください。でそれは食べる必要もないし飲む必要もないと。ただその空間にあるエネルギーを吸収することによって素晴らしい経験、素晴らしい、心地いい状態になるわけですけど、でそういうことを小さいとか考えていらっしゃるということは、明らかに仏教のステージでも普賢とか言われる段階があるわけですけど、そういう段階を前世において経験していらっしゃる証拠だと思いますね。それは
前世において
間違いなく前世において経験していらっしゃるんじゃないでしょうか。でないと普通の人にはそういうことは 考えませんね、普通の人はね。
前世は何だったとか
いや、それは今言いました通り不言だとするならば、当然人間の点から考えたら神と言われる、存在があるわけですけど、これは明らかにその形状界といって、要するにこの宇宙を創造したとか破壊したとかいう神がいるわけですけど、そういう世界の経験をして初めてこの今の人間の世界におけるその不尿の問題とか、そういう問題をリアルに考えることができるわけですから、そういう世界を少なくとも何回か経験してらっしゃることは間違いない。つまり神の経験をしてらっしゃることは間違いないでしょうね。
だけどもやってるそういう気持ちがすごいあるんだけど、自分のテレビやなんかでいろんなとこ働いてることを考えると何をしてるんだろうなと思って、それを断ち切ればいいんだろうけどね、断ち切る勝負っていうのがすごい難しいですね。
いや、それはそれでいいんじゃないですかね。というのは最もある意味で大きな影響力を持たれていらっしゃる、要するにカリスマ性ですよね。カリスマ性というのは神から与えられた英知みたいなものですから、そういうことを持っていらっしゃるということは、それはなんていうのかな、特に影響力のある若者たちにいい意味で与えていかれたら、もうそれこそ素晴らしい人生になるんじゃないでしょうかね。
そうですか。
なんかいいな。
そうです。なんか自信が持てたんじゃないですか。
また場所を改めてですね、違う機会に朝原さんと対談を申し込んでですね、20時間ぐらいじっくりとですね、
もう朝までとは言わず、もう何日も。
そうですね。
2人だけで朝までトークってやらせてくんねえから
そうですね。
なんかそれが面白いな。
そうですか。いいお弟子さんになりそうですか。
いや、お弟子さんというかもともと要素をお持ちですから、私に代わってオウム真理教の教祖をやってもらってもいいんじゃないですかね。
教祖として立っていけるこの人は。
明日からピンクの服着て歩いたりして怒られたりして。いや、
というよりも本当ストレスに強いですから、早いんじゃないでしょうかね、経験は。はい。
でもたけしさんの場合はなかなか仕事を辞めてっていうそういう形の落ち着き方はしないと思うんですけれどね、この人から仕事を取ったら今煩悩の方は別として、名目というか一番大事な部分っていうのは私は仕事だと思うんですけど、どうでしょうね。ほとんど抜け殻のようになってしまうんじゃないかと思うんですけど。
ただ私はたけしさんの小さい時からの経験を聞いてますと、ある時ポッと仕事を放られるんじゃないかという気がしますけどね。
そうですか。
これは仏典にもよくあるパターンですから、これ最高の悟りを開くっていう人が言う場合は必ず現世的に優れてる人でなきゃダメなんですね。その理由というのは先ほど言った試作をする力、考える力が鋭くないと悟れないんですね。ですから可能性として私は今から何年か後には、
僕はねちょっと勘としてはね、5年後に自殺するかやめちゃうかどっちかだと思ってるんですよ。
そうですか。
くたばるか自分でね。
5年ずいぶん早いスタンスですね。
言ってずっとこのとこ何年も言ってる。もう5年になってきちゃった。あと7年6年って言ったら5年だよ。49だと思ってるけど。でこれで仕事をほっぽり投げるか死んじゃうかね、自分でどっちかだと思ってるんですよ。意外に後で5年ぐらいしたら分かりますか。
そうですね。ただビートたけしさんは私は5年じゃ死なないと思いますよ。
5年じゃ死なない。
Asahara's public persona had rewarded him with a large number of obsessive followers. Shoko Asahara attempted to use the platform of power that he had obtained in order to gain political power. In 1990, Asahara and 24 other members stood for the general elections for the House of Representatives under the banner of the Supreme Truth Party. His attempts at realizing his political dreams were thwarted in a way that mirrored his earlier childhood defeats. This series of events seemed to make him bitter towards the world, and Japanese society particularly. On the morning of the 20th of March 1995, all members released sarin gas in a coordinated attack on 5 trains in the Tokyo subway system, killing 13 commuters, seriously injuring 54 and affecting 980 more. Some estimates claim as many as 5,000 people were injured by the sarin. It is difficult to obtain exact numbers since many victims are reluctant to come forward. Prosecutors allege that Asahara was tipped off about planned police raids on cult facilities by an insider, and ordered an attack in central Tokyo to divert attention away from the group. The plan evidently backfired, and the police conducted huge simultaneous raids on cult compounds across the country. Shoko Asahara was finally found hiding within a wall of a building known as the 6th Station, in the Komikai Shiki complex on the 16th of May, and was arrested. On the same day, Aum Shinmiko mailed a parcel bomb to the office of Yukio Aoshima, the governor of Tokyo, blowing off the fingers of his secretary's hand. Asahara was initially charged with 23 counts of murder, as well as 16 other offenses. The trial, dubbed the trial of the century by the press, ruled Asahara guilty of masterminding the attack, and sentenced him to death. The indictment was appealed unsuccessfully. A number of senior members accused of participation, such as Maezami Tsuchiya, also received death sentences.
Tinky Winky, Tinky Winky, Dipsy, La La, La La,
Poe.
Warning, if you don't want your childhood to be ruined, click to another video now before it's too late. You've been warned. In 1953, the CIA created the MKUltra Project, a secret mind control program that experimented on American citizens with a variety of illegal methods, including giving patients high doses of LSD, forcing patients to listen to the same thing over and over again, and various forms of torture. Then, in 1973, the program was shut down and many of the documents were destroyed by the CIA to cover up its existence. It wasn't until 1997 that a new MKUltra project was created. This new program was much more secretive and widespread, but today, I'm going to be exposing the truth behind the new program, codenamed Teletubbies. Teletubbies is a show targeted to toddlers with underdeveloped brains that are more susceptible to brainwashing. Now why don't we watch a little bit of Teletubbies and see what we find. Now right off the bat, we see the show using overstimulating vibrant colors to mimic the psychedelic effects of LSD, just like the original MKUltra projects. Ooh, it's so colorful. It burns my eyes. And then there's this giant windmill that's in every episode that makes the Teletubbies watch a video of some random kids doing something.
Hello, I am Joseph. Come and meet my friend. Hello. Playing in the rain.
Ah, finally it's over. That clip was so boring and it took forever. Wait, are they seriously gonna just play the same clip again?
Hello, I am Joseph. Come and meet my friend.
Yep, that makes sense to me. That makes sense to me. Who cares? Repetition is the most common form of brainwashing, and the windmill is used throughout the show to reinforce this. You can even see it hiding in the background, watching the Teletubbies while secretly pulling the strings. Another reoccurring image is these speakers that pop out of the ground. Now I want you to listen closely to how the music changes when the speakers come out of the ground.
Teletubbies gone?
Teletubbies is about 25 minutes long, and the majority of those 25 minutes is literally just the speakers telling the Teletubbies what to do.
Tinky Winky sang a song about the bag.
Bag. Time for Tubby bye-bye. Time for Tubby bye-bye. Time for Tubby bye-bye.
No.
And some of it's just ridiculous.
It was Dipsy's turn to answer the Tubby phone.
Okay. Dipsy has to answer the phone, okay.
Dipsy came down on the dub-dub.
Ooh. Dipsy down, dub-dub. Dipsy down, dub-dub. Ring, 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 ring.
Then Dipsy went up on the dub-dub.
Wait, didn't you just say that Dipsy had to answer the phone?
And then Dipsy came down again.
Okay, now Dipsy can answer the phone. Okay.
Dipsy down on Dup Dup. Again. Down.
Then Dipsy went up on the Dup Dup.
Wait, what about the phone? This subconsciously implants the idea that you should always mindlessly obey orders if you want to be happy like the Teletubbies. Alright, that's enough. Clearly I've exposed the truth behind the Teletubbies. There's no need to keep watching. Oh dear God, what is that? I can't keep watching. I can't do it. Look at it, oh my God, just look at it. This monstrosity is called Nunu. I guess it's like the Teletubbies' butler that cleans up after them. All I can imagine when I look into those soulless, unblinking eyes is it saying, "Please kill me." I have a theory that there was originally 5 Teletubbies, but one of them was brainwashed and conformed so much that they turned into Nunu. You see, Nunu represents what the government wants you to become, an obedient mind slave with no personality of your own. Eventually, all the Teletubbies will become Nunus. And that's the truth behind the Teletubbies. Hopefully you'll think twice about what you watch on TV. I think I've seen enough Teletubbies for the rest of my life. I'm just gonna turn this off now. Wait, what the? If it's not coming from the TV, then where's it coming from? Oh no. No, please, no. No, 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 no! 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 Please kill me.